Hello all, and welcome to this week's Sunday Q&A. Once again from the garden, which is starting to go a little bit green. It's kind of scary, bearing in mind the fact that today's Friday the 13th of January. But what can you do? Adapt accordingly. One of the guys asked me recently, he said, have you been kicked out of the house? No, I am still here. I'm in the garden. Couldn't be in the garden if I was, well, could be if I decided to live in a shed. Thought about it. No, what is happening is, I'm kind of time of year where everything's a bit quiet. I'm tending to get finished on a Friday afternoon. Today's job, picked it up yesterday. I had to be in Eastbourne at 8 o'clock in the morning. Nothing coming out of Eastbourne. Not until I was an hour and a half away when Heathrow, Eastbourne to Hounslow pinged up, but that's zone, so that don't help me. So instead what I do is I'll get back on a Friday afternoon, do all my social media stuff, do the lorries on Saturday morning, and then the rest of the weekend's my own. Fantastic. So, you know, break myself into the new year gently. Also, as break the new year gently, as Teddy Gas says, nice haircut, Pete. Starting to look a bit like me there. Probably a wonderful thing, Ted, I should say. And Shane Hardy says, nice haircut, Pete. Oh, suits you, sir. I love the fast shoe. Oh, does she, sir? Oh. Great, brilliant series. My plan for 2023 is to get my up on my knee this month and then start running in the van, start running man in van service to get me on the CX late in the summer. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Shane Hardy. And when you come to join the CX, you know where you are if we need any advice, like, you know. Oh, yes, Gitan, that's Nick, sorry mate. He was once said, have you been kicked out of the house? No, still here. And my mum Nige says, more cheese, Gromit. Because you get that with your haircut. It's very much like Wallace in the Wrong Trouser. And this brings me on to Nige. Nige has done a revamp. As Shane Hardy also says, because I did a video go up, intro video, this should be your freelance career advert. So what is, my mate Nige, I've known him since I was 11 years old. He does that SEO stuff, which is search engine optimization, which is trying to get you up there in the rankings, and he's looked at stuff and changed. We've changed the title of the channel. We are now Pete the Courier Driver and Truck Vlogger. It started as Pete the Market Trader, then I wasn't a market trader anymore, I was a courier driver, so now it became Pete the Courier Driver. Now, because I'm doing those life on the road video things, which is what people seem to want to watch on YouTube, I don't know why. So I'm now Pete the Courier Driver and Truck Vlogger, and I'm back on Facebook and I'm back on Twitter. So if you know anybody who's not on the YouTube thing, or if it suits you better, you can search Pete the Courier Driver and Truck Vlogger on Facebook and on Twitter, and it should come up. And the same video, it's the same video, it's nothing different. It's not at the moment, I still don't understand how this stuff works. But what I'll do is when I put a video up on the YouTube, I'll also put it up on the Facebook, on the Twitter, and if you want to watch them, you know, crack on. There you go, we've got the new channel revamp, new name, new picture. I think we've got a new picture. No, same picture. So there we go. And don't forget also there's a podcast, which I'll have to rename, I haven't done that yet. But you can, Sunday Q&A often goes up on the podcast before Sunday, because I put it up when I edit the video. So this is Friday, it'll go up on Friday. So if you want to listen to this, just for the advice or just because you're bored, but you don't really have the time to do the video, or you can't watch the video because you're driving, you can get me on Spotify, you can get me on Apple Podcasts and Stitch and I don't know, and Google, same kind of thing. It's Pete the Courier Driver, soon to be Pete the Courier Driver and Truck Vlogger. I don't know why. I don't understand any of it. So this week's video, so it's supposed to be one video a week. I'm cutting my videos down. You don't need too many, so it'll be one video a week and then Q&A. Because it was two videos, because Nige put the intro video up, which has got bits of me, you know, painting your wagon and Paramount Studios and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do one video a week, and this video this week was running in a 12-ton van on a 12-ton lorry on a CX. As one guy said, he said, we see there's an argument for 7.5-ton vans, lorries. There's an argument for like 18 tons of the Arctics. What about a 12-ton? And to me, it's kind of the worst of both worlds. So I said, to me, it's kind of like getting a medium long wheelbase van. And as a white man in a van says, he says, for my next van, I would definitely go for the max size for the category. He says, I have a 2.8 metre van, so I come under the medium wheelbase. But so often, it's a 3 metre load. Now, if a 3 metre load is a long wheelbase load, and a 2.8 metre wheelbase, sorry. A 2.8 metre wheelbase, you're almost I would look in the long wheelbase category, but I would have in my notes, I'm 2.8 metres, just in case you get sent in there and it's not right. And then when you ring the shippers, if it's a long wheelbase load, every time I'd say, I'm 2.8 metres, is that okay? Because otherwise they go, well, we asked for a long wheelbase, you turned up in that, we're not paying you. He said, I got lucky a couple of times because the 3 metre length was just a few pipes length or wood, so I could keep it, you know, I could open it under my seat and get them in. But when it's €3 pallet or an oversized 2 pallets, I can't do, and I have to ring up and let the shipper know, as the details of the load size aren't always available or accurate. And then you've got the problem, you've got the grief with the shipper. They've sent me in, they've asked for the wrong van, and then you don't need the grief. Whereas if you turn up in a Luton, they kind of know what a Luton is, don't they? So yeah. And my mate Rock God out there, he's got his own channel. He's done this truck vlogging thing longer than me. He says, I agree with Pete. He says, I do a lot of loads advertised as 7.5 tonne, 12 tonne and 18 tonne. But as I have a 26 tonner with a payload of 14.5 tonnes, I can sweep up the loads too heavy for 18 tonne, which don't require an Arctic. For example, it would be 12 to 14 pallets of booze, which would normally be heavier than over a tonne a pallet. That's me being me. Also, if you've got the 26 tonne, you can sweep up the loads at 16 pallets. Because we can't do those. We got the 7 metre beds, 12 tonne, 18 tonnes, got 7 metre beds. You're in a 26 tonne, got 8 metre bed. But then, so you say, Pete, why you got a 26 tonne? Well, the right truck weren't there when I bought mine, and also they are a little bit more juicier, and also they're a bit trickier to get round because you've got the tail swing, because you've got the extra, put a sleeper on that as well, and it's starting to get long then, isn't it, really, you know? So I still say 18 tonnes the way forward. He also goes on to say, he said, after I started my truck 2 years ago, I was green on the DVSA traffic light system. Overnight, it went to red due to a failed MOT. This video is worth watching if you get caught out to do something similar. Get your pen out, as usual. I always forget this bit. So if I can, there's a link here. I'm going to try and copy that one out and do a link. So you know where to go with that one. Right, the wise guys this week. Got a few questions that got asked that we got answered by the wise guys, so it's cool. Mark Lee says, he said, Pete, I'm Mark. Hello, Mark. He says, I'm looking to start on the Courier Exchange around April time. I'm just doing all the legwork at the moment. I'm doing my best to put all my ducks in a row. Buy a decent van, extra long wheelbase, high top. Sure you don't want to lose them? Okay. Getting insurances in place and making sure I have money to see me through the first few months and be fully VAT registered. My question is this: how much would you say from a month's work is actually your money after deductions? Van, running costs, insurance, personal tax, etc. I would say if I put 50% of the total earnings to one side, I would be on the better side of caution. Keep up the good work, mate. Now, Mark, I'm useless at this. I've told everybody I have no idea what I'm doing, and the fact that I'm still here is better luck than judgment and sheer obstinance and work ethic and just an utter desire not to fail. I would have put it around 30-35%. I don't think you need 50% is a lot to take out of your weekly running costs. If you're going to be running in a long wheelbase, no extra long wheelbase, let's say you're bringing in, let's be up to it, let's say you're bringing in £1,000 a week. You should be able to bring in £1,000 a week, maybe a little bit more. Stick 500 quid over to one side, so it leaves you £500 left, and it seems like a bit of a hit. You'll definitely be on the caution, but I know there are people out there, which is why we're on the wise guys, that have drilled into this. They'll go, well, this is how much is going to be your diesel, this is how much is your running cost, this is how much is your tax and all that kind of stuff. And I'm so, guys, if you know the formula better, if you can, we'll give us some answers, give us some comments, and we'll stick it up on the wise guys next week. The guys that know better than me, because I mean, Al does all the maths. Al's the guy in the office. I still just drive a lorry, and I painted myself into a corner with the markets, and I've been flying by the seat of my pants ever since. If you're not living on the edge, you take up too much room. I'm about ready to come into the middle now. I'm balancing on the edge all the time. And half get tiring, I tell you. Tony Mason says, Happy New Year, Pete. Happy New Year, Tony. All right, this is the guy who asked about the Transport Manager CPC. He says, I advise buy the course notes and read them over and over, then do the 2-week course. That's what I did, and I passed in a year. Passed the multiple choice first time, the case study second attempt, I would not have, and sorry, I've cut you off there accidentally. So that's Tony's advice to the man who said about transport managing courses. I think wherever you go, some of them they give you like an app on your phone or something on a computer, like a multiple choice you can go through. I did that with a class 2 to pass my theory test and just went through the questions over and over and over and over again until I got them all right. So there might be something like that, but basically I think it is just a matter of revising and trying, and if you get it wrong, you get it right next time. Domain name, this is the other question. Can I drive a minibus? We're still not sure. Domain name guy says, regarding the bus or coach thing, even though you have a category on your licence as I do, I'm almost certain you can currently only drive it commercially empty. Picking up a minibus from a workshop or a hire depot to drive the minibus commercially, I think you still need to pass a PSV, PCV, something like that, licence to drive for a bus company, for example, or as another van driver. So, yeah. White man in a van says, minibus, I believe you can drive one as a volunteer as a free service, but if you want to drive one as a reward as a volunteer for an organisation that charges for its services, then you need to complete a minibus CPC. Yorkshire Daily Grind says, he said, I've got C plus E class 1 and I can drive a minibus D1 but with a restriction 101 and a D1E minibus with a Taylor restriction 101, 118, basically not paying passengers or a maximum or maximum people on board. Not sure without delivering how many. And Steve Campbell says, yes, you can drive a minibus. You will have D1 on your licence. Flip it around on the back, it will state 101, which means you cannot drive a minibus for hire and rewards until you have taken the driving test in a D1 or a D. So the thing, the long and the short of it is I can drive a minibus as long as the passengers aren't paying passengers, or if I can drive it if it's empty and I've got to pick it up, but if I've got to drive a minibus full of paying passengers, I've got to take another test. As it is, I'm not about to drive a minibus. So as with many things in life, I shall cross that bridge when I come to it. If I ever find I need to drive a minibus, I shall research it and do the appropriate exams. In the meantime, me and Veronica are very happy together. But thanks very much for all your things. Oh, and on the world of Steve Campbell, he said, I got told off by my boss on Wednesday because I didn't bother telling him I was loaded. Picked up at Swissport at Stansted Airport. I picked up there before, it's not bad. Probably you're in and out, you're normally in and out in an hour, it's not too bad. And I had to go 0.3 miles to the Hangar 10 in Stansted Airport, which was for loading. Driving around, basically just ferry it across the road, didn't it, really? He said, then I parked up for the night. Then on Thursday tea time, then I got told off again, going into the LEZ zone when my boss sent me to Romford, RM7, to pick up a load for Bolton in a 56 plate DAF. Well, that's going to cost him, depending on which the DAF is. If it's registered, it'll only be £100. It's going to cost him 500 quid. But if he sends you to Romford to pick something up, he's only got himself to blame, because Romford is definitely inside the LEZ. Right. Pen. 12:53. Peek behind the velvet curtain there. The Courier Driver Awards 2023. I'm pleased to say are taking off. You guys have actually started. Now, what I've decided to do for the first year, I'm going to accept everything that's happened before. And then moving forward, it's got to be that year. So, and that's not saying you're going to win. You'll get extra points if it happened this year, but we'll see. So the Courier Driver Award categories are: worst job, most chaotic, awful, wheels came off job of the year; most unbelievable return, right place, right time, so unexpected; most convoluted on-site instructions, like how on earth was, or just not even on-site, how on earth was I supposed to find this; best paying job; and strangest load. So we've had a few this week. The strangest load, for example, Declan Murphy says, in regard to weird loads, I moved two shoe-sized boxes of mince pies to Dover, 260 miles from Sheffield. That's quite weird. Domain guy says, he said, I've had to deliver a police helicopter multi-camera on a pallet, which was worth a few quid, and then another delivery was a sock evidence to the old bill, and used to deliver adult toys to an adult shop via a multi-drop. Oh dear. There we go. Let's hope they don't accidentally inflate. That would be bad, wouldn't it? Nigel Rainbird says, hi Pete, my weirdest load last year was a frozen dead dog in a bin liner from a kennels in Faversham to a veterinary college in Hatfield. I was told I was picking up a dog, not a deceased one. Given the choice of the two, I think I'd go for the deceased one, because the ones that are alive, no, make a lot of noise. They can be a bit growly. Stephen Fitzpatrick says, Pete, I think I've got a contender. Oh yeah, he said, I've got a contender for the strangest load. He said, I transported and delivered a satellite from Glasgow to Newquay a couple of months ago. It was the one of the satellites that just failed to reach orbit. The first ever satellite to launch from Europe. It failed on launch. I think it was called to deliver to one of Richard Branson's satellites. It's a shame about that. They tried to launch it off the back of a jumbo jet or a 747, but it didn't quite make orbit, and then it fell to Earth, and a lot of money wasted, and just puts them back along. I'm sure they'll get on with it. I know, terrible shame, but good to be part of it. So they're all going in the strangest load category. The worst job category, Belsization said, worst jobs. When I was still green around the gills as an owner driver, I picked up a stillage of bales from Chichester area, heading for a farm in North Wales. Trailer brakes caught on the M4, but luckily I always carry a fire extinguisher, and even luckier, I was being followed by an unmarked police car who pulled me over. I was then escorted to the nearest DAF dealer and spent the night in their yard until the problem was seen to. I ended up taking the mountain roads with an 18% gradient and almost burning through my fragile brakes. I lost money on the job and ended up selling the curtain side trailer and going back to a reefer trailer. General haulage, not for the faint-hearted. That's certainly true. It does help if the motors work though. So, and most unbelievable job, Mike MSG says, we sent a birthday card from KT13 to UB8 yesterday. Charged the customer £68. Some people have got more money than sense. You're probably right there, Mike, but then it just depends on how much that person was going to get the hump if they didn't get a birthday card. And do you know what? You might think, as a son or something like that, so I cannot endure the next 25 years of grief that my mother is going to give me for that time that I didn't get her a birthday card on time. I'd rather give you the 68 quid and go, look, Mum, I got it delivered personally by car. You know, it's that money versus grief argument, isn't it? So we're on to the miscellaneous now. So miscellaneous this week, Tom. Now Tom said, and I assume he's talking about the Courier Exchange. He said, that's terrible. I was expecting £300 to £500 a day. Now, because we've done the new thing with Nige and the new exchanged SEOs and stuff like that, I think a lot of people are now getting some of my old videos coming up. So some people will be commenting on old videos. Tom, what I've done, if you're watching, I've done you a video. Now, many times before, I've done the video on how much money can you make. And it's always, everybody wants to watch it because it's kind of the views. But what I've done a video where you can work out, because you don't know, I could be lying to you. The people, you talk to your mate in the pub, he could be lying to you. You ring up the CX, they're certainly lying to you because they're trying to sell it. They're business people. But I've done a video so how you can work out how much money you're going to make from first principles using philosophical logic. It's coming up in the next couple of weeks. See how you go. Pete Martinique says, hi Pete, I'd like to say a big thank you for all the time spent on YouTube. You're welcome, mate, to get so much information about the CX. I also want to let you know I joined the CX last Friday by using you as a reference. If anybody joins the CX, and that goes for you, Peter, Mark, you as well, you can cite me as a reference. That's lovely, thank you. But I'm supposed to get a free month. I never get anything free out of them. Just say, Pete says he wants me to have his free month. Chances are you won't get it, but it's good to ask the question. You might be lucky. So, oh yeah, Wayne Goody said, now this was a comment about driver's hours. Hang on a second, what's going on there? We had another one that's disappeared off. He says, there was a guy turning around and saying, oh here it is, sorry. Beg your pardon, I've jumped one. Right, look out for number 1. Sorry, so just do that. Cool. He says, you're doing a dangerous thing comparing road lords to Waze. Drivers might use your advice and drive like you and have an RTA. Waze is only for cars, whereas road lords is for any vehicle. But if you set HGV, then you must respect that navigation is there for a good reason. If you want to make a comparison, you should have used Google Maps and Waze. The thing is, you're assuming that I don't know where I'm going. Now, I don't a lot of the time, because I've never been there before. But there are also many times where I do know where I'm going. So say, for example, I'm coming around the M25 and Road Lords is saying, go up the M1, and Waze is saying, go up the M40. And I'm thinking, I can go up the M40. I know I can. I can cut across from Beaconsfield, or I can go across up a little bit further. I can cut across further up, for instance, Risborough. I can cut across from Oxford. I know where I'm going. I know the way home. So Waze is telling me to go that way for a reason. Now, Waze is better at live traffic updates. And then you check it and you realise the reason Waze is telling you to go that way is because there's been a huge accident round about junction 22. And if you go that way, you're going to be stuck in it for hours. In that instant, I'm going to use Waze. Now, you've got to be bright about it. If I'm somewhere I don't know and it's country roads, I rely on road lords to take me the right way. But if I'm an area where I know where I am to a degree, and Waze is telling me to go away, I often listen to Waze, and it's often right. So, you know, I take on board what you're saying, but there's more to it. And on the driver's ads, like Wayne Goody says, he said, straight as a die, this man. He said, and this is the truth of it, he'd watched the video on driver's ads. He said, it ain't easy out there. They say plan your route. So you know, so no, we are all clairvoyant, knowing exactly where the traffic's going to be. As for putting out cards, that's a big no-no. Absolutely, of course you don't do that. As that is a false record of your working day, start a heads up and all that kind of stuff. He says, I'm an operator, never swap charts, because if anything like a fatal RTA turns up, it's all going to come on top. Basically is, yeah. So no, I just do it straight. It's very straightforward. It's like in life. Always tell the truth. It's easy to remember. When it comes down to, like, you know, running trucks, just comply. You can make money by complying. Everybody does. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any trucks. Just do what you're supposed to do. You'll be fine. Blue Tide UK says, have you ever tried the TomTom app? No, but my mate Ian has got one. And he says there is something on TomTom which is very useful. It's called Easy Drive, which is if you're driving, particularly if you're driving an Arctic, it might take you 15, 20 minutes longer to get there, but it will take you the biggest roads as close to your location as possible. And he says, I don't care if I'm going to be 10, 15 minutes late. I just don't want the grief of driving down tight country roads that I don't need. The thing about the TomTom, it's more money. To buy a TomTom, it's what? 500, 600, 700 quid. I've got Road Lords on my phone and it's free. And it works. And between Rays and Road Lords, I get there. I don't come unstuck. So if I ever come unstuck, maybe I'll think about changing it. But I think I've been in the 18 tonne for getting on a year now. It's working fine. And if it works, I don't muck about with it. Edward Wilcox says, the best thing to do is jack in the job. It's all about control, keeping hard-working truck drivers under the thumb. Why would you make life so difficult for people that are important in keeping the country operating, instead of stupid arcane hours, dangerous speed limiters, insane drivers, all that kind of thing? There will always be a driver shortage because the word of the job is rubbish. Not for everybody. It's different for me because it's my own firm, it's my own lorry, so I'm a bit lucrative. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's just horses for courses again. Mate, if it doesn't work for you, there's always a possibility of a small van on the exchange. You know, Uncle Albert's, all right, governor, all right, son. Asher says, is there an app that you would, this is to do with the circuit app. He said, is there an app that you would recommend for free that also optimises the route? I only use it occasionally if on an area I don't know. Actually, if there was, I would recommend it. I still say Circuit is the best multi-drop app out there. They've stopped paying me. I don't do their videos anymore. And if you go onto their channel, you see I don't do their videos anymore, which is fine. It didn't work out. We shook hands, we walked away. But all the time I was sponsoring it, I've always said I was happy to sponsor it because I believe it is the best multi-drop app out there. And I still do. There is another argument. There's another one called Road Warrior. That only gives you 8 stops for free and isn't as user friendly. If you're only going to do it occasionally, suck it. So you can. The only thing you can do is use it for free and just do 10 at a time. It might optimise it a bit, but no, I think you just got to. Yeah, I think you're just going to have to bite the bullet on the times where you're not sure where you're going. Like, you know. Andy Darwin says, can you run in a state car as a small van? Like a jog, they don't like it, not really. Car jobs very rarely come up on the exchange. You can do it from an insurance point of view, but normally when you turn up to a centre or something like that, they're expecting to see a van. You might be unlucky, you might be a small van and they're expecting to put a Euro paddock in the back and you turn up in a car, they're going to go, what's that? So on the whole, if you want to run as a courier, you kind of need a van really. And finally, Barry Neptune Courier. Hello mate, how's your channel? Hope it's doing well. He's got his own channel out there. Let's do him a link. I haven't done that for ages. Check him out. He's Neptune Couriers. He says, bendy lorry. Never heard that before. Hilarious, but explains it perfectly. It's very straightforward. Class 2, straight lorry. Class 1, bendy lorry. Like buses. Straight bus, bendy bus. I'm straight, not bendy. But one day, I hope to be bendy. And in conclusion this week, that sounded wrong, didn't it? In conclusion this week, Cliff Carlo says, Slough, my hometown. Should burst into the song now. Slough, my kind of town. You know just where you're heading. It's equidistant between London and Reading. Yeah, I won't burst into song. I'll save you that pain. So that's it. Q&A. There we go. We're back in January now. Now what we're looking forward to is the sunshine, the lighter mornings, the lighter evenings, bit of time off for the bank holiday. And in the meantime, it's going to be tough. It's always tough. It's kipper season. So all you can do is get your head down, do your best to take care and take money.